think they try to get it right most of the time. I hope they do. There are bad cops out there who consistently make wrong judgments based on skin color, gender, sexual orientation, all kinds of things that color their thinking. And it'd be nice if, again, this is what happens when you have a victimless crime and the cops have to do this intrusive type of policing where there's in your life. If you read the Constitution, we're supposed to be sovereign people. My privacy is sovereign. I'm a king in my own little sphere here. You need permission to come in here, okay? And so I'm a libertarian in the sense that we need to get back to that type of personal privacy and sovereignty. You can't come in my space without a damn good reason, like me calling you because my wallet's missing. Yeah.
How do you think
if marijuana was legalized, how do you think that it would be regulated in the workforce in terms of how high risk your job was, such as terms of a waiter at a restaurant or a pilot?
Well, I want my waiters sober, but I would support the right of a workplace to set standards. There's a funny thing though, like with alcohol. I've worked in workplaces where like everybody knew that so-and-so goes out and parties a lot and gets drunk. And maybe they show up late for work the next day, maybe they don't. They're amazingly forgiving of that type of thing as long as it doesn't happen constantly, okay? And so that's a way that we seem to be able to accommodate alcohol use and its after effects. There's studies that suggest that there's far more productivity loss to alcohol than there is marijuana. Don't know how valid that is, actually a PhD dissertation, but I work in a field where cyber warfare, I expect to be, have to do polygraph tests for my clearance, to do urinalysis testing, and I don't have a problem with that. I need to have, they need to know they call me in the middle of the night and that I'm going to be 100% there. And so for fields where it's, really needed, I would support the right of the employer to do that type of testing. But again, if you're if you work in jobs that aren't, you're not an emergency responder, it's not some type of critical thing, I think that privacy has to win the day.
How does the U.S. government go about taxing and regulating a drug that is so incredibly easy to come by and grow? I mean, alcohol and other drugs that are difficult to manufacture. Pot's as easy as growing tomatoes.
That's a good question, but with alcohol, within 20 miles of here, you got 7 different regulatory schemes for alcohol. In Virginia, you've got the district, you've got in Maryland, in Alexandria, Montgomery, and then the state itself, you've got different schemes. Okay, that was 6 actually, I think, but I don't think there's one single answer for that. I think alcohol prohibition, when it was repealed, explicitly left it to the states to figure out how they were going to regulate it. Now I can grow wine, I can do a barrel of wine in my basement, legal, it's not taxed, and I would think that if I'm going to grow for my own personal use, I don't see how that would be regulated or taxed. I think that when it becomes literally an industry, and sales are involved and advertising, and it'll be a regulated industry, just like, but I think it has to be up to the states, maybe even at the county level, to figure out how are we going to regulate these schemes, much like alcohol.
What do you think ending drug prohibition would do to the crime and violence? You said that we're in the midst of the biggest fight of crime and violence since prohibition of alcohol. So what do you think that would do to the crime and violence problem in America?
Well, I think the drug cartels are going to collapse, not overnight, but almost overnight. Now, they're going to struggle for a foothold in the business, but the truth is, and again, I'm going to refer to this book, it's going to be cheaper to regulate and tax marijuana. It's going to be significantly cheaper because, again, as a business, they're going to have advertising overhead and all these other things a legitimate business has. okay? But it is gonna be cheaper, and that fact alone, the fact that I can get a better, more consistent quality, it's regulated, it's legal, that's gonna drive the drug cartels out of business almost immediately.
There's been a lot of dialogue tonight, just mainly about the drug side of cannabis, but cannabis is an incredibly useful plant when you're not using it to get high. I mean, my shoes are hemp, and I'd just like to hear you comment a little bit on that side of it, in terms of having a discussion with someone and trying to change their mindset, you know, based on, listen, it's much more useful than just getting high all the time.
Well, I mean, hemp, in World War II, farmers were paid subsidies to grow hemp. Okay, so our government always hasn't had this hatred of hemp. Hemp is a fibrous plant, produces oil that could be have a lot of industrial applications, fiber that has industrial applications, clothing, rope. I mean, for a wide range of things. So, absolutely. I mean, in terms of, you know, we're looking for, first of all, there's a movement for more sustainable food sources, community food sources, and so forth. And I think you're going to see more local, organic types of farming, sustainable farming. And I think hemp fits into that picture. I mean, we're looking to stimulate the economy. Here's this incredibly useful plant that could be growing successfully, but right now it's illegal and you'd have to be crazy to go into that business. But the only reason it's illegal now is just hysteria. I mean, you can grow a non-psychoactive hemp, but again, the people who tried it face so much harassment that it's not viable. So I for one would love to see that. When I spoke out at Hemp Fest in Seattle, I made a comment to the effect that wouldn't it be nice if instead of the cops harassing you, you could call them and get help if someone came and stole your hemp plant. Roar! I mean, 50,000 people roared. It was great. But that is my vision, quite frankly. That they could, instead of busting you and making you a convicted felon for the rest of your life, they protect and serve. And that if you were in the park and you dropped your stash, you could go and get the cop to help you find it because you didn't want it falling into the hands of a 12-year-old, okay? Wouldn't that be a wonderful vision if things worked that way? And I think we literally have to kind of visualize it if we're going to make it happen. Hey, thank you for your questions and the interaction. I learned something tonight, and I hope you did. And
thank you for coming.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Just want to let you all know, next week we're going to be showing Marijuana Nation, a documentary about the marijuana industry